Good evening. How's it going?
I have always considered Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors, and Uncle Buck to be an unofficial movie trilogy.
Directly from the mouths of babes, Chet.
All three films, each released a year apart, were written and produced by John Hughes, and all three starred John Candy.
Yeah! Whoa! Whoa!
Tonally, there are a lot of similarities between them as well, as they all deal with the pressures and responsibilities of family life.
You understand what your mother and I are trying to say?
Aunt Kate and Uncle Roman are incredible buttheads, right?
Exactly.
The Great Outdoors is somewhat of an outlier, though, as it's the only one of these movies not directed by Hughes, but rather his frequent collaborator, Howard Deutsch. The two first met when Deutsch was assigned as the editor on the trailers for Hughes' first films as a director, 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. John quickly came to admire Howard and his sensibilities, later hiring him to helm both Pretty in Pink and Some Kind of Wonderful.
For every movie that I direct, I can write 5. And I knew that a point would come where I would have to, if I wanted to continue writing at the rate I write at, I would have to turn scripts over to other people. And Howie was a good friend of mine. I'd worked with him for several years, and he liked the script very much. And I said, well, I think that he'll do it, do a good job on it. And in fact, did a better job than I think I would have done.
Following the success of their first two collaborations, Hughes next assigned Deutsch to direct Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, while John planned to direct The Great Outdoors, which was due to go into production at around the same time. But then, Steve Martin agreed to star in the former, and Hughes, a huge fan of his, asked Deutsch to switch projects, and the rest is history.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact.
This movie went into production as Big Country, a title that was later changed to avoid confusion with Tom Hanks' Big, which was scheduled to release the same month.
Oh.
Unlike Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which pitted John Candy against a co-star he had never worked with before, The Great Outdoors reunited him with one of his oldest friends, Dan Aykroyd.
What a gas. Chet's gonna shit a solid gold brick. What a great surprise.
The two first met in the early 70s, and though their careers went in different directions, they stayed in touch. Dan championed John for parts in both 1941 and The Blues Brothers, though they wouldn't share many scenes together. What's great about their pairing in this movie is how it flips the dynamic that Candy had with Steve Martin.
Oh. That feels better.
In Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's Martin's Neil Page that the audience sympathizes with, a man forced to contend with a larger-than-life personality that he can't stand. Here, Candy's Chet Ripley is the one that the audience sympathizes with, while Aykroyd takes on the role of the brash, fast-talking counterpart, who preys on Chet's patience.
How about the gourmet here? You know what he wanted? Hot dogs.
Okay.
You know what they make those things out of, huh, Chet? You know? Lips and assholes.
It shows how easily Candy and Aykroyd could adapt their comedy styles based on what a movie called for.
There's quite a hairdo you got going there, Reg. You don't have a neo-skunk thing? Or...
Roman, what are you doing?
Well, he's got the hair.
Well, you don't have to say it.
This is a character type that Aykroyd had played just a few years earlier, when he starred as an invasive neighbor to a more mild-mannered John Belushi in 1981's Neighbors. His character here, Roman Craig, is a much better vehicle for Aykroyd, though, as Candy plays a more convincing everyman than Belushi did.
I mean that as a compliment.
Oh, thanks.
The script also gives Aykroyd a lot of room to do what he does best: ramble endlessly about nothing.
Focusing on the newest rage and toxic waste, medical refuse. Infected bandages, body parts, IV tubing, contaminated glassware, entrails, syringes, fluid, blood, low-grade radioactive waste, all safely contained, sunken in the lake, and sealed for centuries.
The movie centers around Chet Ripley, a family man from Chicago, striving to give his family the perfect vacation.
That's the whole point of this trip,
Right.
to be in the woods, the men, the guys, together, rugged, manly, all that stuff, the full 9 yards.
Exactly.
Much like another John Hughes protagonist. Their destination isn't a theme park, though, but a picturesque lakeside resort in Wisconsin, where he and his wife, played by Stephanie Faracy, had honeymooned.
Big spender.
Their vacation is cut short at the surprise arrival of Roman, Chet's brother-in-law.
That was quite a surprise. I mean, yeah, you got me.
Who, along with his wife Connie, played by Annette Bening in her film debut,
Yeah, sometimes I think the only way I'll get any pleasure is by leaning against the washer during the spin cycle.
Hijack was supposed to be a relaxing family retreat for the Ripleys.
You guys want to cruise the lake in comfort? Or would you rather skim the waves with Uncle Roman in a jet boat?
Jet boat! Sorry, Dad.
Tagging along is their 2 twin daughters, who managed to make the twins from The Shining seem charming.
His kids, they're spooky, all right? I'm waiting for their heads to rotate around and vomit pea soup.
Unlike National Lampoon's Vacation, where the comedy comes from the family's journey to their destination, the comedy here comes from events that occur during the vacation, as the Ripley family arrive at their destination before the end credits are even over.
Watch the doors. Whoa, trees in the parking lot.
But Hughes continually comes up with new scenarios to throw Chet, Roman, and their families into.
It's bigger than I thought. It's about a 2-pounder.
2-pounder?
Yeah, big wings. Big wings.
Which are all relatable experiences to anyone who has ever vacationed at a lakeside resort. The most memorable scene, in my opinion, comes when Chet takes on a 96-ounce steak at a themed restaurant.
No problem. Listen, if I can get a dessert down them, think you could throw in a couple of Paul Bunyan hats for the kids?
The waitress in this scene is played by Nancy Lenehan, who you might recognize from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where she played Dell's wife, seen only in his bedside photo.
Seriously, though, has anybody ever eaten one?
No, not in my lifetime, no.
Some really great character actors make up the rest of the locals, including Robert Prosky as Wally, proprietor of the resort.
Enjoy your stay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. How could you not in a place like this?
Well, you could get the shits from the well water.
What did he say?
The true star of the supporting cast, though, is Bart the Bear.
The biggest, baddest bear in the North Woods.
Sure, Dad.
An immense grizzly who has a list of film credentials that rivals some human actors.
Big bear.
No, true.
The only aspect of this movie that has never really worked for me is a forced subplot involving Chet's oldest son, Buck,
Molly Russell's wart.
falling for a local girl named Cammy. Perhaps these scenes would have worked in a movie that had been centered around Buck's point of view, but every time these two characters were on screen, I just want the movie to get back to Candy and Aykroyd.
I've never had what I call my girlfriend.
What would you call me?
Gristle and fat.
Even worse, every one of their scenes utilizes the same music score, and it just gets so grating after a while.
Look, why don't you just save your breath? I'm not a tourist attraction.
Oh, blow it out your ass.
Even the old 96er scene gets broken up by their subplot.
Oh, God, no.
There were a lot of fun scenes left on the cutting room floor in favor of this subplot as well,
And that cut me. And I heard.
including one where Chet tries to drive with the jet boat attached to his car.
Whoa, watch your tail, watch your tail. Bingo. 10 points, Chester.
Fortunately, this scene was included in some cable edits of the movie, and I was able to track it down a few years ago.
You want to give me a little help, Roman?
I'm watching here. You got an inch. You got an inch.
What inch? I'm right on top of it.
Half an inch.
I thought you said I had an inch.
Yeah, you did. You used it.
Another deleted scene revolved around Roman's daughters and a legendary fish that resides in the lake. Evidently, this fish was supposed to take the place of the bear in the film's final act, but the script had to be rewritten when the mechanical fish built for the movie didn't work properly. Apparently, they still filmed some scenes with the fish before deciding to cut this subplot altogether.
What do you mean? All kids like bugs. They're cute. Especially fireflies. Their butts light up.
I'm thankful for this because the bear makes a far more formidable opponent, and it leads to a gag that some would say defines the movie.
Oh, right in the...
God, that's gotta hurt.
There are also some curious editing choices in this movie. For example, this scene of Chet and Roman at the bar originally took place much earlier in the movie, right after Roman and his family had first arrived, as evidenced by the outfits that Candy and Aykroyd are wearing.
My goodness me.
Another shot that has always stuck out to me as odd is when Chet gets sick after devouring the old 96er, and you can clearly see Dan Aykroyd counting down to cue the actors when it's time to run away.
I'm a phony. I'm a fraud. I'm a fake.
I just refuse to believe there wasn't an alternate take or a better way to cut this scene.
Well, looks like you're wanking your crank.
This movie was John Hughes' first production back at Universal Studios after Paramount had lured him away. Perhaps that's why the fish didn't work.
Okay. Oh, wow.
If you visit Universal Studios Hollywood today, you can still see the cabin that was built for this movie on their backlot tour, and it shows how truly impressive the set is.
Wow.
The scenes doubling for the Wisconsin resort town were actually filmed in Bass Lake, California, and locals there still speak highly of hosting the cast and crew during the production of this movie. You can find a lot of photos online of Aykroyd and Candy posing with the locals.
They'll be telling their grandkids about this.
One of the most unsung aspects of this movie is its wonderful poster, which evokes a monthly outdoors magazine. I've never been able to find out who exactly the artist was on this piece, but it's simply fantastic and really captures the mood of the movie.
Check out the shotgun lamp. Isn't that something? Huh? You don't see that every day.
There was an alternate poster design that actually included the bear in this art as well.
Big, big, ooh, big.
It's a crime that this poster was replaced for the movie's DVD release.
What was that?
While The Great Outdoors was a modest financial hit upon its release on June 17, 1988, it was not nearly as successful as the two films that bookended it. Still, this was one of those movies that when you caught it playing on cable growing up, you just stopped and watched the rest of it. It's a great feel-good comfort movie that you can jump in and enjoy, regardless of how much time is left.
Roman's making goat cheese pizza and we'll take it over the lot.
He's making what? What did you say?
As with any recognizable IP, there was talk of Universal remaking this movie with Kevin Hart a few years ago.
Oh, God, no.
And more recently than that, Dan Aykroyd has expressed interest in a sequel that he pitched as The Great Outlaws.
I knew it, I knew it, I knew it.
While I would love to revisit his character, so much of the reason that Roman works is because he's paired with a terrific screen partner in John Candy's Chet.
Hey, buddy, you pay for the drinks. I gotta go to John. I'll be right back. Gonna introduce Mr. Thick Dick to Mr. Urinal Cake.
Oh, jeez, Roman, you have to...
While these two would appear in more films together,
You know what they make those things out of, huh, Chet? You know? Lips and assholes.
The Great Outdoors will always remain their finest collaboration together.
It was a story. Come on. Yeah. Oh, come on. It was a kind of true story.
Pizza?
No, you didn't say pizza. You said something else.
Big man pizza.
What are you hiding?
Big pizza.
No, you don't have to hide from me. Tell me what it is.
Pizza.
No, you said a goat in there. Is he making goat pizza or something? What is this?